So the Orange Man crowd must be just wetting themselves. Why? Well, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that President Trump, former president, cannot be on the ballot for the upcoming 2024 election. Set 4 out of 7 Democratic justices in the state of Colorado, a very Democratic state, decided that was be the case. And for the insurrection for January 6th, he's responsible. Of course, he hasn't had his day in court or any chance to appeal that. In their opinion, he caused an insurrection, and because of that and the 14th Amendment in the US, he should be excluded from the ballot. So, what happens next? Well, it's simple. This will go to the Supreme Court of the United States. And I would venture to say they will toss this out. Why? Because they don't want to be seen as interfering in an election. And quite honestly, courts should not be interfering in an election. It should be the will of the people to decide whom they want. Now, for all of you libtards in Orange Man bad crowd who think Trump's absolutely horrible and abysmal, then if he's that bad, you should be able to defeat him in a fair election. Why not? If his ideas are so repulsive, if the man himself is so repulsive, why would anybody vote for him? I mean, come on. The guy that's in there now is obviously way better. I mean, obviously the world has been way better since Trump's been gone. I mean, just think of all the calm internationally. I mean, it's not like Russia invaded Ukraine. It's not like China was saber rattling to attack Taiwan. It's not like Hamas attacked Israel. I mean, none of those things happened. I mean, come on, are you dreaming? None of those events. And why didn't they happen? Because there's a very strong leader in the most powerful democracy of the world still, right? Like, isn't that right? Biden, isn't he the most powerful fellow at all? I mean, none of that would have happened. For those of you who think that do you think mandates would have honestly occurred under Trump? Now, I know, I don't hero worship. I don't have any golden calves. I disagree with Trump vehemently on Operation Warp Speed. I didn't think that was a great idea. I never think expediting a vaccine was wonderful. I think he trusted the wrong people in those places, and I think his ego got the better of him. But I don't believe that Trump would have instituted mandatory vaccination. I don't believe so. That's not the way, that's not the cloth he's cut from. However, it seems that when the most powerful country in the world, the president of that country is advocating for it, chances are other countries follow in lockstep, like our timid prime minister, our metrosexual Justin Trudeau. That gives him even more emboldency to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna freaking do this, I'm gonna do that. Those things, I would venture to say, would not have happened. Now, for all you critics of Trump, fine, I'm good with it. Let's criticize his policies. I would like you to list the policies that he implemented during his tenure as president that were horrible. Please point to those. Just cite those for me. Now, sure. Did he say mean things? Absolutely. But is that really grounds for, is that the kind of leader you want? Somebody who says all the right things but does all the wrong things? Oh, yeah, that's right. You did vote for Trudeau. That's true. You do like those kind of people. These are the same crowd that believes that in order to defeat racism, you have to be more racist. So I guess this principle must be that in order to preserve democracy, you must destroy democracy. Is that kind of how it works? Because if he is so bad, if his ideas are so vile, nobody should be voting for him. What are you afraid of? I mean, your man, like the Democrats under Biden, I believe won Colorado by 14 or 16 points in the last election. So how is Trump any kind of a threat? Well, he's a threat because common, ordinary people are waking up and looking around and saying, am I better off under the guy who's been running the show for the last 3+ years? Is the country better off? Is the world better off? And if you can honestly answer that, you should only come to one conclusion, and that would be no. Now, if you deny reality, you're one of those people that believes men can give birth. Yeah, sure. I'm sure you're going to say, no, the world's way better. I mean, come on. Let's face it. We have, all of this gender dysphoria. We have all of this, whatever, all this nonsense. So that is what you're going to ascribe to. If that's what you truly believe, then there's nothing I can do to change your mind. But if you're someone who fundamentally, let's say, is in the middle, is undecided, just ask yourself, is the world a better place? In a global setting, when you have leaders like Putin, you have China's Xi Jinping, you have all these people, they are strong leaders. Now, that's what the world requires. It doesn't work on the world stage to be a timid and weak leader. And that's the only thing these international players respect. Do you honestly think that Hamas would have attacked Israel under Trump's watch? Come on. Now, don't lie. Just ask yourself honestly. Do you think Putin would have invaded Ukraine? Do you think as Canadians we would have sent all these billions of dollars to Ukraine because of all this nonsense? That is the result of weak leadership. That is what happens when you have a vacuum and you have people with a globalist agenda with this one world view where you have politicians who don't respect language, borders, or culture. That is what happens. It is the demise of a country. Sadly, I live in Canada, not the Canada part, but I realize that I live amongst idiots. Most Canadians, when it comes to international politics, geopolitics, or world events, are naively stupid. They are. I have met very few that know what the hell's going on. Classic example, look at the river to the sea people. They're everywhere. These people don't understand fundamental things. And it's not to say that I'm somehow superior or I know way more. No, I've made an effort to try to get both sides and try to understand it and look at the world as it is, not as how I would like it to be. I would love that we were all sitting around singing Kumbaya, holding hands, roasting marshmallows, doing all that shit. That would be wonderful. But that's not the world I live in. I live in a world of messed up people that are all clinging, grasping, wanting to reach to the top. And if I'm going to live in that world, I want the guy with the biggest stick, the guy who can protect me the most. And I'll tell you, it isn't pretty boy Justin Trudeau. He would sell his mother down the river for $1. We know that because that's just who he is. That's the kind of individual. He doesn't have integrity. How do I know that? Well, I can judge that by his policies. I can look at what he's done. And again, I point to Orange Man Bad policies. Point those policies out. Can you imagine can you imagine Justin Trudeau even encountering a fraction of the criticism that Trump has undergone? I mean, just think of the sheer volume of criticism this man has taken, and he's still standing. They haven't broken him. No matter what they do, they can't crush him, and that drives them even more wild and crazy. Because why? Because he's defiant. He says this to them, and that's it. And they don't like that because globalists don't like it, because to them, it's all about hierarchy. That's what it's about. They're elitists. They know better, and they don't care about anything else. Hypocrisy means nothing to these people. All they care about is power. They have it, and they are going to wield it over you and crush you with it. That is the problem. So democracy isn't preserved by destroying it. It isn't denying the will of the voters. If your policies are so great, let people vote for them. We know that when it comes to that, people don't. Look at our elections in Canada. It's not like the Liberals had an overwhelming majority. We're ruled by a minority of idiots, unfortunately, and that's what we encounter. Anyway, these have been my thoughts. I welcome yours as always. You can follow me on my Twitter, my Rumble account. You can also subscribe to my channels if you haven't done so. And like I said, chime in, share your opinions. I'm not saying I got it all right. And as I said to you before, I don't hero worship anyone. But I do realize that the best way to win isn't by losing. And that's the kind of philosophy we live in. It's an upside down world where we don't reward meritocracy. We just say it's all about equality, equity, diversity, all this crap. And we don't look at exceptionalism anymore. And we try to, instead of getting everybody to raise the bar and get better, we figure, hey, why don't we just pull you down so you're not performing? And come on, then we'll all be equal. And it'll be just such a fair, just world. And you know what? Come on, get those marshmallows. Let's get Kumbaya going over here. Anyway, I'll see you next time.